guys, welcome to Get Your Buzz On, episode 3. We are having our special guest Lane Harris here, so let me pop open a bottle of Dibion. I totally got sold on the fact that it was a New York Times best, best wine selection, rosé, so... Here you go, Lane.
Thank you.
No problem. Let's fill it up. I like mine filled all the way to the top. And we are going to get to know each other very well, Lane. All right. Here you go.
So we're supposed to cheers? What do we do at this point?
Cheers. That is actually pretty good. I'm not even going to lie. That's delicious. So, I'm so excited to get Lane on here because he really doesn't go on camera that often. So, we're really happy that you decided to.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the podcast, Victoria. I really appreciate it. I've heard you've had tremendous success with it, right? This is episode
3.
3? Are we episode 3?
Mm-hmm.
So congrats on the success, of the podcast. Congrats on the new venture. I know you guys are starting a new, somewhat of a new company, right? Bundlebee Insurance.
Yeah, we started that. What was it? April? I don't know.
Yeah, and I've heard you guys have had tremendous success, with Bundlebee. So awesome! I'm happy to be here and excited.
Thanks. I need to get on the Harris level, so that's what we're going for.
That sounds good. Let's do it. Let's get on that level.
So so tell me a little bit. Start off by people if they don't know you.
Sure.
I mean, most people do, but if they don't know you, kind of explain what you do and.
So I'm a real estate broker with the Harris Real Estate Group, which is our company. I primarily work in new construction. That is our niche, if you will. But we do plenty of other things. We have a property management company. We sell quite a bit of resales. We work with other builders as well. Our primary client is Paulo Buddy Homes. So we list and manage, the model homes, the team that gets them sold.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, you've been doing it for a while now, so.
Has been a little bit. Yes, it has. Has been a little bit.
How long have you been doing it now?
So I've been in the industry for 12 years. I was thinking about this earlier today. But it's been 12 years now. I've been a realtor for 10 years. Okay, 10 years total. Mm-hmm.
So how did you get into the business? Because I'm always interested to see how people, because it's never like you wake up and you're like, oh, I can't wait to be a realtor.
Sure.
So how did that?
That's what happened to me. I just woke up. No, I will tell you at a very young age, I think I always had or was drawn to real estate. It's hard to say why. I think also my father had a little bit something to do with that, pushing me in the industry. When I was 20, believe it or not, when I was 20 years old, I actually took all my classes to be a realtor, during the summer while I was going to college.
Yeah.
Took my classes, never took my test. I realized after I took those classes that I wasn't ready to grow up. I was like, wait a minute, this is
You're in your 20s.
This is a real career.
Yeah.
I'm going back to school, and so I did that instead. But always drawn to it. Always something that interests me. Since a young age. Sure.
Yeah. Where did you go to school?
Went to Mexico State. Was my college. Yes. Went to MSU. Had a great time.
So what'd you get your degree in then?
So it was business major.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're a business major. Actually met my wife while going to school as well. So that's one of the great things we got out of it. But,
yeah, for sure. She's awesome. So.
Sure. Yep.
She's what gets some of his sales too.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure she does. I wouldn't doubt it.
But so then once you graduated, then you were like.
Yeah. I mean, I really didn't get into industry until 2007. So I was 27 years old at the time. I started working with a local home builder. Had an opportunity to begin working there. Did that. Had an amazing experience there. Very good environment, very good team, very good company. My last year there, I was their top salesperson of the year, which was a great accomplishment to me. Still is till this day. That's for sure. And then in 2009, had a big year that year. We bought a home.
Yeah.
Me and my wife got married
Oh
in May of that year, and I became a realtor. Things happened, and I transitioned away from that builder and became an agent. The cool thing about it is, during the first 6 months of my career as a realtor, I ended up making more money than I did my best year as a builder rep. And so at that time I knew things happen for a reason, and really at that point everything has gotten better.
That's true. It's I think sometimes if you just work, you have signs that happen, or you run into people, or something just happens that gets you to look at to make that leap of faith and try it out and everything. So 2009. So that's been.
It's been a little bit, yeah.
I'm not trying to age you.
Yeah, no. It's been a little bit. So 10 years. 10 years essentially as a real estate agent. Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, how has the transition been since when you started to now? How has the growing pains been of being a realtor to now you're broker?
Right, correct.
So what's been the biggest struggle you've had with both, or what are your challenges?
Sure, good question. I'll tell you, the transition for us, it's been interesting. Right? It's been a number of transitions over the years. From being an independent agent.
Right. Because then you're not worried about everyone else's.
Right. Independent agent to, starting a team. That was probably the most difficult transition in itself. I remember as an agent, people telling me, one of my sales managers at the time, her name was Frances Leal, telling me, I need to get an assistant. And it wasn't something I was really thinking about at the time. It really wasn't. I was so focused on my business, so focused on my clients. I just really didn't feel like I had the time to do that. But sure enough, the more that advice was given to me, the more people talked about it, the more I realized I needed it. And so that was a little bit of a transition, having to slow down and work with somebody, train somebody to be able to help you, with your business. But once that happened, shortly after that we developed our team concept, which we've had tremendous success with. And even that, early on, truth of the matter, is I was working with the builders, working with Paul Homes at the time, and I really just needed people. I needed people to sit models. I needed people to work with me. I needed help, with the volume of business that we were doing. And so at first we really didn't know what we were or what was happening. Team concept wasn't very popular or common in our market in El Paso. It's something that you saw in larger markets, but still not at the scale that you see today. But anyways, I really just needed people to help.
Yeah.
Over time, I started to research different structures, different ways of operating the business, and so slowly but surely, it turned into our team.
Right.
And so by becoming a team, we ended up developing a strong administrative staff. From marketing coordinator, transaction coordinator, you name it. We developed it, we put it together. We of course, had to start recruiting agents, training agents at all levels, of our business. And in essence, the transition from, realtor to team to brokerage was really just the natural, progression, for us. It really was. And people ask me about the transition. Well, how was the transition from being an independent agent or a team to a broker? Really, it was pretty seamless. It was pretty flawless as far as we're concerned. There really wasn't much of a transition for our team, other than the name on the business card. That changed. Outside of that, we were already operating, as an independent, company to some extent. I was already officing outside of my brokerage office, and so the transition just again happened naturally.
Yeah.
Struggles, again, not anything that is any different from your day-to-day struggles that you have in any business.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. With like staff or different personnel and personalities and stuff.
Sure.
So we all deal with them.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
That's what I was actually telling Eric. I was like, I feel like a zookeeper sometimes because
Sure.
you're trying to have everyone's personalities and everyone needs to be heard and everyone's got to have their have a say so. So I completely get you on that.
Sure.
How crucial was it that you took the time to really learn the business before you started getting into it?
I mean, experience is critical, right? Of course.
Yeah.
One thing that I always encourage my team and agents, and one thing that we develop as a culture here is, continuing to learn, right? Continue to train, continue to get better. When I started, I was fortunate to start out in a very competitive environment, which, at the time was probably my biggest struggle, very difficult. But it taught me to be competitive. It taught me to work harder. It taught me to exceed at a high level.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I was very fortunate to have, is that level of competition. And that's not something that you typically would get in a normal brokerage. But when you work in a small environment, we try to encourage that somewhat here in our team too. We want newer agents or newer people of our team to see the opportunity that is there,
Right.
and the level of business that you can do and can be done.
Well, and the thing that I love about you is that not a lot of people know this, but you are very structured
Sure.
in the way you do everything.
Sure.
And that's the one thing I can honestly say that's why I do see that you have a good success, because you stay on top of everything. And I think
Sure.
that a lot of people, when they become realtors, they don't realize, and like I said, correct me because I'm not a realtor, but
Right, of course.
they become realtors and they're like,
But you know
I
a
don't
lot of
have
realtors.
to. I'm like, I don't have to come in. I don't have to clock in. I don't need my boss telling me what
Right.
to do. I don't
Right.
need this.
Yeah.
And I think that since you were able to build that structure, I think it's helped you tremendously
Yeah.
on how your business goes.
Right. Systems and processes are critical, and that's something that, we strive to perfect and develop, we develop very early on.
Right.
Developing the systems, developing the processes, so that we can succeed at the level that we need to. That's a critical piece of any business, I think, and something that, again, you got to establish, early on. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Our systems, our processes can be better. We're constantly looking for, something new, something different that can help make our job easier, make our clients' life easier. All those types of things, we constantly try to implement.
Yeah.
But that's one piece. The next piece is, once you develop those systems and processes, is you need to get the right people, on the bus to be able to really, really maximize that potential, right? I have positions within our organization where we may have hired somebody for that position, and they did a good job. They did a great job.
Yeah.
But I for whatever reason they're not with us anymore. Since hired somebody else, and getting the right person in that position really can make all the difference in how successful your team and organization can be.
No, it's true. I think that, because we were just talking about marketing stuff. So I think if you don't
Right.
have the right people that have that right mindset too,
Sure.
that has the same one that you have, then it makes it that much harder, because it's like the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Right, of course.
And we see tons of talented people, but sometimes if they don't have that structure, or if they don't fit in your mold, then
Right.
it doesn't work for your team either.
Right. Yeah. Structure and accountability are tough, and that's probably one of the biggest things that you see in our industry. As realtors, is it's hard just because you are an independent agent, and it's hard if you don't have that accountability or have that structure. Sure.
What's the success rate for realtors now?
Well, we hope they're all successful, right? We want them all to be successful. But to be honest with you, like if you look at international statistics, like NAR puts out stats. I think last time I looked, I think it's like an 87% failure rate, believe it or not. 87% of realtors will fail in the first 5 years, somewhere around there. They really will. And it's tough. You think about that.
Yeah.
You got a class, new hires, 10 people, right? 8 to 9 are potentially gonna fail, and it's a staggering number, when you look at it from that perspective. But it's true, and you see it all the time, unfortunately. And I can't help but feel a lot of that has to do with, lack of training, lack of structure, lack of accountability. Plays a big part of it. I think some agents maybe just don't have the right direction, which also, could, obviously affect them in their business, and before long, they move on to somewhere else.
Yeah.
But what I will say with that though is that one good thing about real estate is that there's a lot of different ways to make a living. There's a lot of opportunity. New construction is our niche that we're good at. That's what we like, among others. But there's many different ways to make a living. Property management. You can focus on resales. Commercial property. There's a number of opportunities within the industry, even outside of being a real.
So with the percentage of being low, what's your biggest advice to anyone that's like wanting to start real estate?
Don't do it. Don't do it. No, just kidding. You know what? It's a phenomenal industry, and really, it's a great opportunity. One of the things I love about real estate, and I tell my team this all the time. I tell my new agents this all the time, is that you get to determine, really what your paycheck is. At the end of the day, it's one of the few industries I like to think that the harder the work that you put in, the more that you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. Ultimately, it's up to you. As far as what that number is going to say at the end of the year, come tax time. But it's a phenomenal industry. Obviously, I work in new construction, so if you ask me, I'm going to tell you work in new construction.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are, like we said before, a number of different opportunities within that. I think training and support is critical to any agent that's starting out, in the industry. Having the right mentor, having the right guidance, having that direction. I think a lot of agents will, or realtors will come in the industry and they were getting advice, and whether it's good advice or bad advice, is somewhat subjective. But at the end of the day, I think having the right support, having the right training will make the difference.
So does the Lane Harris still do that much real estate? Like, besides your brokerage and everything,
I
but...
do a ton of real estate, Victoria. Ton of
like, do you deal with buyers and stuff still, or not as much?
Not as much anymore.
Because you have the brokerage stuff.
Right. To be honest with you, don't get me wrong. There's certain circumstances where I will get involved in a transaction if needed for support purposes. But to be quite honestly, no. I spend my days behind a desk now.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, right, I used to, work out of a model home like a lot of people on my team. And I'll be honest with you, I miss it. It's a passion of mine that, I enjoyed, and until this day, I think I would enjoy. And but no, not as much.
Not as much.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, no, because you're busy managing everything,
Sure.
so that's someone's got to do it.
Yep.
So I like me, I have my sales staff too, but sometimes you miss when you're that salesperson, you miss that like.
Yeah, that satisfaction of it. I mean,
yeah.
I remember just driving out to the subdivisions on the weekend, Saturday morning. You just get butterflies in your stomach, getting out there. Get ready for your day. It's just there's nothing like it. So I have a passion for it. I do miss it. But luckily, over the years, we've been able to develop the right people, right, to get on that bus, to help fulfill those roles and help fulfill those needs. Right now we've got the best team. I mean, there's no question about it. Our team leaders are some of the best in the industry. They've been with me. A lot of them have been with me since the beginning. That's for sure. Our agents are just phenomenal. Give you an idea, and I won't say exact numbers, but last year, we exceeded all of our records that we've ever, sales volume, you name it, we exceeded it. And so, it's exciting for me in my position, to see those people on my team, excel at that level. I tell them often regularly, I said, I succeed through you.
Yeah.
We succeed through you, and so we want to make sure we do everything we can to make them successful. And administrative staff too. We have really the best administrative staff, in our industry. There's no question about it.
So when you first started, how was the grind? How long did it really take you before you really started seeing like money? Because you don't get a salary like everyone else, does like a 9 to 5.
Sure. Well, remember I started as a builder rep. Okay. But I'll be honest with you. Starting out, there was a point in time where, I was very close to not, to leaving the industry. Bottom line, my sales volume wasn't there, where it should have been. I will say this, right? It's often said that like your first 3 months?
Yeah.
Right? First 3 months of any career is like the hardest, right? Anytime you make a job transition. And I think that's true for real estate. I really do. It's probably more like 6 months.
Right.
I tell my agents sometimes in real estate, 6 months. It can take before you really start to develop your rhythm and develop a pipeline and really understand the industry. I was a late bloomer,
yeah,
if you will. There's some people out there, and I'm on my team right now, that they get started and they're instantly success. That was not the case for me. I was really a late bloomer when I started. It took me a while to put it together, but obviously glad we stuck with it, and it all worked out for the best.
Yeah, it obviously it did.
Sure.
So with your team, what are some of the biggest recommendations that you tell them when they're out there dealing with a lot of the clients and everything when they're selling a home?
Recommendations for them: work hard, right? Stay at your model. No.
Yeah, that's your biggest one.
Follow up. I mean, all the basics.
All the basics.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I said, fortunately, we've got a good group of team leaders right now that do a great job, mentoring our staff and our agents and everybody. And so, it's all about fundamentals.
Yeah.
I will say that.
And that really does play a role.
Sure.
So who were your biggest mentors when you were starting that you were like, I want to be like that?
That's a tough one, Victoria. I don't know if I've had some great mentors. I'll say that. Early on, believe it or not, my first sales manager, two of my first sales managers, I would say was Martin Telemontes and Dennis Estep. And so those two guys I worked closely with, and owe a lot to them. As far as getting started. Later on, David Acosta was somebody I worked closely with, before. But outside of that, there's a lot of national teams, a lot of national, realtors that I follow, and all that adds up and makes a difference.
Oh yeah, that for sure. And I think the older you get to, the more things that you see that each one of them showed you that you're like, okay, now I understand why they did it this way or they did it that way.
Yep.
When you're younger, you really don't have the patience,
Sure.
I guess, and so you're wanting to get it going really quick.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that's true. So Palo Verde Homes, how did that start?
Palo Verde Homes. You know what? I will say I couldn't have asked for a better builder to work with. That is for sure. The owners of that company, Edgar Montiel, Krista Montiel, are just some of the best people. Not only are they talented in terms of the design, in terms of you name it, style, the home, everything. They're just good people. So I was very fortunate in my career to meet them, get to know them, and work with them.
Mm-hmm.
That started back in about, we're trying to figure this out, but I think it was back in about 2015, more or less. I think we've been working together for close to 7, maybe going on 8 years, all together. Phenomenal builder, obviously a big part of our success, in our industry. And, it makes my job easy to some extent when you represent and work with a quality builder. It's much easier to promote and sell a home that you truly believe in. And when it comes to a Palo Verde home, the attention to detail, the workmanship, the customers, you name it, it's just the best.
They have, your guys' homes are super, super nice. My favorite is, I feel like you guys have like a modern farmhouse kind of look right now. Or is that, or
so that's something,
or like contemporary?
So, well, let me tell you this: the original, right? I want to say, design of a Palo Verde home has been a Spanish style home.
Yeah,
and that's really been, the success. Edgar and Palo Verde Homes. They really changed the market when they introduced their product.
Right.
And really made El Paso, I think, better. The quality that you get in homes today versus when I started. Way different. The homes are built so much better, and I can't help but feel that Palo Verde Homes is a big part of that. big part of that movement, big part of that transition. But the Spanish style is really what I love in real estate and homes and architecture. We now do Spanish. We do a contemporary home as well, and those are nice.
They're
awesome.
Beautiful. Those are some of my favorites.
We do a Tuscan. It's got a little bit more stone in the exterior, some details. We do some wood beams, things like that. And then now we are transitioning into a modern farmhouse, is what it's called, which is a super neat style.
It's gorgeous.
Yes. So that's something that we are now adding to our inventory.
So who comes up with the designs and everything?
Edgar and his wife are two of the best.
They're really good.
At that, Poverty Homes, the team altogether is great. They are a true team at its best, I will say that. From the foreman to the warranty department to you name it. They're just a real good group of people and a great team to work with.
And they built your house.
They did.
So you went through the whole process just
That's
like
right.
everyone else.
That's right. Me and my wife designed our home. And actually, a good friend of mine, I'd say Fernando Hermosillo, a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
We actually drew my house, at a model home one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you were like, this is what I want?
He helped. I'll give him that. He helped with that design. We designed our plan. Edgar, big influence on that. Carissa too, big influence on doing that. That's been, how long has it been since we've been in our home now? I don't know, 4 or 5 years. But we just love our house. Again, I believe in the product. I believe in the quality. No better way to show it than on the home.
Yeah, and that's what I say. If you are representing a product, I feel like you have to have it.
Sure.
So it's like you have the product. You live in the home. You know that they build beautiful homes.
And I'll tell you what, we Poverty Homes, we sell a lot of homes to people in our industry.
You do.
Not to put anybody, but we do. Right now we're building, I want to say 4 to 5 homes of people that are in our industry that are buying homes with us right now as we speak. So I think that speaks volume for the quality work, in the homes themselves.
So do they do custom homes as well?
He used to, not anymore. We do what's called a semi-custom home.
Okay.
And what that means is that we will, Poverty Homes will make, slight changes to the house, but we're not doing a full custom. Okay.
Because it's a lot more that goes into that.
It is, and unfortunately, and fortunately, given the volume of business that Poverty Homes does now, that we do with them, it's just not something that they offer at this time. Doesn't mean that they won't in the future, but not something they offer right now.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time if you're doing it custom, like having
from
to
scratch.
do all that
and
everything.
It took us about a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took us about a year. Mm-hmm. And I have something to do. I will say this. That's because we were working.
Was that you or Beth?
That was both of us. And Edgar. We were working while we were designing it. So it's kind of, we work on it and then, other things. But anyways, it can be time consuming.
Yeah, it definitely can. What when you were building your home, what was some of the biggest headaches with, not Palo Verde wise, but what was the biggest headache that you guys had to deal with?
I think overall our process was pretty seamless, to be honest with
Really?
you. I can't say that I had a headache with it.
That's good.
If anything, it was me making decisions because I can overthink things. But outside of that, the process was great. The process was great. Mm-hmm.
Well, and the thing is, like, when you have faith in the builder and everything, and they have, I have to say, you and Edgar's relationship is really, really awesome because not a lot of people have that relationship with the builder, and you guys are best friends. You guys have offices next door to each other. You guys hang out together personally too, and have your families together, and that's really commendable because I feel like because of that, you guys have that loyalty and that friendship that really has grown the business too.
Sure, no, I don't disagree, and it's that's one of the things about having a partner like that. Mm-hmm. It makes a huge difference. Yeah. Right, it makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm.
So if I'm wanting to work with like a builder, and let's say I'm wanting to be listening to it with the builder, what advice would you tell me to do with that builder?
So something I would say about that. Number one, there's only a select amount of builders out there.
Right.
Okay, and I will say is that You don't need to list a builder to be successful. There's a number of
Right.
different ways to be successful in the industry, for sure. Many people on our team that operate at a very high level of success. But what I will say is that it is a big responsibility,
Right.
for sure. You have to think that you're responsible to get these homes sold. Any home builder has a lot of risk involved when it comes to constructing homes, not only from a financial perspective but from a liability. There's a lot of risk involved, and so you need to make sure that you're prepared to give your builder that commitment.
Yeah.
Because really it's necessary to make it work. I'm a really firm believer in that.
Yeah. No, and that's a good perspective, because a lot of people don't realize how much how much risk they're taking on with getting lots and getting loans and building and everything, and they need.
Yep, and there's risk on both parts of that relationship. Also, there's a financial, how can I put it, obligation. I mean, there's you need to be prepared, for the responsibility and the obligation. Is what I'll say to you.
And that just takes to your having the right structure.
And it's not for everyone, but let me tell you, I enjoy it. Like I said, new construction is my passion. That's for sure. I enjoy going to home sites. I enjoy seeing homes built. It's just something that it's part of our business.
So where do you see your guys' business in the next 10 years?
It's like the $1 million question.
I know.
Right?
I put you
Where
on
do
the
you
spot.
see in 10 years, in a year, or 5, or whatever?
And some of these questions he didn't know I was asking.
As they say, upward and onward, right? We're always working to get better. That's for sure. Systems, processes. Talking about a new home that Paul Homes is developing, the farmhouse.
Yeah.
Right. Constantly working. To get better. Really, only time will tell. What that answer is.
Yeah.
I will say that every year has been better than the last, and we intend to continue that momentum throughout the next few years.
So how many agents do you currently have at Harris?
Roughly about 50 agents is what we have right now.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, roughly about 50 agents. Right now I've got 4 people in the administrative staff. We've got 6 team leaders out there. Like I said, couldn't have asked for a better team.
Yeah, so it's just grown. It keeps on taking a world of its own.
Sure.
So that's awesome. That's a tribute to you guys with your success and everything. So how is it to manage 50 agents?
It's can I tell you when you have the right people working for you, right? When you have the right training, the right support, it's a challenge, but it all works out.
So when you were an agent, what made you successful? What was like your secret sauce that you were like, I know that I am doing this and no one else is doing it? That made you successful, because now you're more of the brokerage, but what was like the thing that everyone's like, well, I'm going to use Lane?
Sure. You know what? I think honesty, right, is a key. Having integrity, being honest, and your work ethic, I think, is what will make the difference. In anybody's success, and that's any industry, right? No matter what you're doing. I don't necessarily think I did anything different or have done anything to do anything. I just think that we've got a strong work ethic. We believe in systems and processes. And I think all that has a big part of our success.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So what's something that people wouldn't know about you? What's something that, because I ask everyone because it's interesting what I find out about people that I know personally, but I don't really know.
Believe it or not, people probably know a lot about me. I don't know. That's a good question. What's something people don't know about me?
That you...
I like the color blue. Does that count? Yeah, does that work?
I want like a deep secret or something, that you have a secret life or something crazy.
No, unfortunately I don't. I'm a car enthusiast. How about that?
That's
good. I have an old Mustang. I've been a Mustang enthusiast forever. I grew up, working on cars and
and I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's a little bit about
So
it.
you're all about the vintage cars and Mustangs and everything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it can be.
You're like, just a little bit.
Yeah, I can get over the top of it, but no, I spend my weekends, working on cars, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Does that work? Does that work?
Yeah, that's. Hey, I didn't know
not
that
getting too
about
personal
you.
without without going down a road on.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect thing to say.
Okay, cool. Good.
So on the cars,
Sure.
what has been your favorite Mustang to work on?
Well, I have a I'll give you a little bit. I used to have a 1966 Mustang. I had a 68. And right now I've got a 1964 that my father gave me. That car, give you an idea, we bought it for $100 back when I was in high school. And every dollar I made went into that car to get it to the condition it's at now. And so I still own that car. It's in my garage today. I'll never sell it.
So how much is it worth now?
Well, I mean, they're not.
They're not.
They're not terribly worth it. They're
it's just a hobby.
Sure, there you go. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, that's crazy.
Yep. It's worth a lot to me. Victoria.
Well, for sure, yeah, because you think of you and your dad doing all that stuff, so
sure.
that's definitely something that you'll always remember too.
Of course, yep.
Do you show your son? Because he does have 2 kids, so sorry.
I did. No, you're fine. I got a 5-year-old. I got 3 kids. I got a 5-year-old. I have a 8-year-old son. I got an older daughter now who's 20. My son's almost at the age where he'll be ready for it. Not quite yet, but soon enough he will.
So what are the things that make you happy?
What are the things that make me happy? You know what? Working with good people makes me happy, right? Beautiful wife, makes me happy. Our family, sure, all those type of good things, all attribute to that, sure.
So what activities do you guys usually do, like as a family on a weekend or anything with the kids? Sorry, I know. Everyone wants to know.
I don't think they do. I don't think anybody cares. The typical stuff. Spending time with each other. My son right now is he's got a lot going on. He's in karate. He's in soccer. He's in basketball. So right now we spend a lot of time, with his extracurricular activities. Sure.
Are you involved in like the coaching?
I'm not. No. I'm involved in. Sitting and watching. That's what I'm involved.
That's easier though, so you don't have to deal with all the parents and everything.
There you go. Yep. Yep.
So with the business side, how important is it with like the relationships you build? Because you are big on relationships.
Sure.
How important has that been in your business and your successes as far as it's gone?
Sure. I think in any industry, in the insurance agent industry, right, in the mortgage industry, I think relationships is key, right, for anybody. Also, your reputation, right, making sure that you treat others how you want to be treated, and those kind of things. All make a big difference in your success and the outcome of your business. Mm-hmm. And so very early on in my career, that's something I've always strived to maintain. Just do the right thing, right?
Right.
And as long as you stick by that, when it comes to those relationships, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, because I've known you for years, so I don't want to age myself, but how important is it for buyers on looking at insurance? How important is it in your mind that they look at the insurance instead of having the lender or someone dictate what their policy is to you?
Sure. No. I agree.
Because you've been around and you've seen it all, and you've seen a lot of things that could happen if they don't have the right coverages.
That's correct. Now, you know what? You need to make sure that you obviously work with a trustworthy agent, right? Insurance agent. I mean, that is for sure. You need to make sure that you shop around, right, for your rates, because one thing is for sure is and even coverage for that matter, because they might have a good rate, but they may not have the right coverage.
Right.
So one of the great things I think about your company, right, is the fact that you guys actually work with so many different insurance providers that by once they contact you, right, you're able to shop that coverage, shop that rate, and get that client the best possible rate, the best possible coverage, for their home, auto, right, whatever it is, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
and it does make a realtor's life, it makes a client's life easier, not having to do that on their own.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of times too with like the insurance side of it is that, for example, I'll throw it out there, USA the military is all about USAA.
Sure.
And the funny part about it is we do the same thing, except we're a lot less expensive.
Sure.
So I'm always having to teach, and they do great marketing. I'm not even gonna lie, they do great marketing for a lot of the military, but they actually are brokerage, so they actually don't have their own home insurance.
Sure.
So I have to tell people we do the exact same thing that USAA does, but we're a lot less expensive, and you get to talk to me.
Yep.
Come on now.
Yep.
So I think so that's what I try to tell people. It's a relationship. It's if you have a problem or if you have something, you can always call me or any of my staff, and we're always available. Everyone's got my cell phone number, so it's easy for us to get in touch with one another. So that's one of my big ones. So I'm with you. It's knowing the coverages, shopping around, being a lot more educated, because for a lot of people, your home is your biggest asset. So why
Right.
wouldn't you want to do the research to protect it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest thing with a lot of the real estate agents and the lenders is that we're all trying to work together to do to help our clients, and I think they appreciate it, and they know too when you guys send us a really good group of people that they really appreciate it too.
Sure.
So with everything, how do you balance everything out? Work, family, career, everything. How
That's a
does
good
that go?
question. Good question. Victoria, let me ask you, how do you balance everything?
A lot of this. No, no. I think a lot has to do with. Thank God, we have very good family that helps out a lot when
Yeah.
it comes to like if someone has to pick up Lucas or Nicole or I think it's having just like anything else. You have to have a good team to take care of your household, and I think it's just trying to do it. But obviously, sometimes I drop that, just like you might do it too. It's just it just is constant.
Right. Yeah, balance is tough. I mean, but it's important, right?
Yeah, it is.
I think very early on in my career, luckily I had a very understanding wife, who saw the vision and saw where we were headed. But really, it's critical. It's important, and I'm fortunate to be able to
Yeah, and your wife's very awesome with like helping. What does she do at the office? That
We don't know.
helps you?
We don't know.
She keeps you in line. She has the whip.
Not really. She's actually our accounting manager, for our team, for our company. So
That's
she's
good.
one of the most important pieces of that puzzle. She makes sure that their agents get paid. So
Yeah.
she does a great job, and we're very fortunate to have her.
Yeah, that helps out a lot.
Sure.
If whatever we get paid, I want to know. So
Yeah, there you
that's an awesome thing. And you guys, how long have you guys worked together?
That's a good question. Probably since 2005. I was going to 2015. So 7 years, 7 8 years, something like that.
How did that go in the first year?
Yeah.
'Cause it's not for everyone. I couldn't work with Justin. I might kill.
It must have went well, Victoria, because I really can't think of anything that comes to mind about it. But no, I think it went fine.
Well, it's just like an adjustment, probably, or
Sure.
or because my parents, they work together. I don't know how they do that, but we all kind of make it work. But
Yep.
I think the great part is too, you have someone that you can trust to do all that stuff, and
Of
you're
course.
like, I don't have to worry about that. She's
Yep.
got it.
Yep.
The trust factor definitely plays a part in that.
Mhm.
So, well, thank you so much, Lane, for being here. I know that you don't like to be on film that much,
I
but
don't.
I really appreciate your time
No,
and
You're
fitting
welcome.
me
Of
in
course,
your
I'm glad to be here.
schedule.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Congrats again on all the success in the podcast.
Thank you.
Congrats on Bumblebee Insurance. I'm excited for you guys. I
Yeah,
really am.
and we appreciate all the support, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
That I'll say helps.
Yeah, of course.
But thank you so much, and we'll cheers to that.
Okay. Cheers to that. Thank you.